Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So today we'll do the last section of the chapter of Mudud. And last time we were doing the stretches which are because of the presence of Hamza. And today we are going to do the stretches which are there because of the presence of Sukoon. But as I told you that all stretches which are longer than 2 counts are based on the 2 count stretches, which is the mad asli or mad tabi. So, like I said, let's begin from mad asli. So, how many types of mad asli do we have? Do you remember? 3. Very good. So, we have which I like to call in easy language, Fatha and Alif is the first bestie couple or the first mad asli. Then what do we have? Yes, best friends. Then we have Kasra and Ya. And then we have Dhamma and Waw. Yes. So all of these are 2 counts. But when you have right after this bestie couple, Sukoon on the next letter, for example, whatever letter was over here, it had a Sukoon on it. And you know, last week, what we did was that we were temporarily putting the sukoon. Like if you're stopping on an ayah over here, maybe it was seen fatha. But because I was stopping on it, I gave it a temporary sukoon. So it had a different effect on the mad asli. But today, what we're doing is we want a sukoon right after mad asli. And we don't want it to be a temporary sukoon. We want it to be a permanent sukoon. How can a sukoon be permanent? If it is an integral part of that word. So the first condition is that you must have a sukoon right after mad asli. So first condition is met. Then we have 2 further branches out of it, which are whether this alphabet, which has the sukoon, is it merged with its next letter or not? Okay, so first condition is there must be a sukoon right after the 2 count, bestie couple, and then it might be merged. It might be merged to the next letter, or it might not be merged to the next letter. So tell me, let me see if you can guess the answer to this question. If I have ba sukoon over here, and it is merging with another letter right next to it. For example, ba sukoon, and right after that is ba fatha. You know, when you have the same letters together, one is with sukoon and the next is with haraka, the first one merges into the other. And what do you see? So if both of them are merged together, I've made a lot of mess. Let me clear this. If ba sukoon and ba fatha are merged, merged together, how would I write it as? When sukoon and fatha are merged together, how would I write it as? Only single ba sound. There are 2 bas and they're merging together. Can you think of something in Arabic which tells the merging of 2 letters? Maybe a sign you remember. When you see that sign, it means there are 2 letters here. What is that sign? Nope. One more try, I'll give you a hint. Just like, you know, when you have fatha, it means you're going to open the mouth. When you have sukoon, it means you're going to stop at yes, barakallahu feek, shadda. So when the letter which had the sukoon is merged with the next letter, it means the next ba is going to have a shadda. So how will we experience this? For example, we have the word ha fatha alif sukoon. This is the classic example of bestie couple, mad asli. It was just supposed to be 2 count, right? But right after it was qaf, which had a sukoon. And On top of it, it was merging with another qaf right next to it. So how would I write it? Of Shadda Fatha. Correct? And just to tell the audience that, a stretch, or I should say, just to announce to the bestie couple that somebody important is coming, which is going to come and change your life, we put the squiggly line. Just like we put when Hamza uncle would come, remember? Hamza uncle also came to the bestie couple and changed their life. And now we have Sukoon, which would come and change the bestie couple's life. But in this situation, the sukoon which has come, it hasn't come alone, it has come with another guest. So it's an alphabet with a sukoon which is merged with the next letter. So whenever you have a bestie couple followed by shadda, now you cannot see sukoon over here, but you must know that when you open the shadda, it becomes sukoon plus haraka. So, what will you do? What does the presence of Shadda do to the bestie couple? It increases it to 6 count. So, one easy thing about today's lesson, I'm going to teach you 4 instances of mudud which are present because of the presence of sukoon, and all of them are going to be 6 count. All of them. So, the first one is a situation where you have mad asli, any of the mad asli, followed by sukoon. And sukoon has to be an integral part of the word. It should not be temporary. So whenever the sukoon is permanent, we call this mad al lazim. Lazim means compulsory. It's an Arabic word, even used in Urdu. Lazim, maybe you've heard this. Like, just like you can use it as wajib. Remember, wajib meant you have to do it, compulsory. So lazim means you must have the sukoon as an integral part of the word. Okay, perfect. Good. I'm glad you know the lazim word. Okay, so when the sukoon is permanently, inherently part of the word, it's not temporary, then the name of this mud is called, the stretch that we're going to give to the bestie couple is called mud al-lazim. But the name of this mud is really long. So I want you to concentrate on each part of the name, which is going to tell you what is really happening in this mud. So when you hear the word lazim, it means the sukoon which has come right after the bestie couple is lazim, like compulsory sukoon. It's not a temporary sukoon. Then this mad al-lazim is further divided into kalimi, al-kalimi, and al-harfi. Do you know the difference between a kalima and harf? How would you translate a kalima in English and harf in English? Kalima. Okay. Kalima you're saying is a sentence. Actually, that is kalima at-tayyiba. Maybe maybe you came to the conclusion kalima is a sentence because kalima at-tayyiba, which we say ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, that is a sentence. Did that come to your mind? Kalima? Okay, yes, okay, so I could see into your head. But kalima in Arabic means a word. Okay, kalima. And harf is called an alphabet. Okay, so kalima is a word and harf is alphabet. So for example, I wrote the word ha. Oh. So this is a kalima. And in this kalima, you have one harf, two harf, three harf, four harf. So four huruf in this kalima. Okay. So what does it mean when I say al-mad al-lazim al-kalimi? It means that the mad al-lazim, lazim tells you that the sukoon was an integral part, and kalimi means it was the bestie couple, and the sukoon which was right next to it were both in a word. In a word. Now you might say that obviously they have to be in a word. Like how can the bestie couple and the sukoon which comes right next to it, how can they be in a harf? How can they be in an alphabet? Like you must have 1, 2, and 3 alphabets together to, make this ecology of bestie couple followed by a sukoon. Does that make sense? How can we then say that these 3 elements can also be present in an alphabet? How does that make sense? Oh, wow, I'm so impressed. Even, my brain was saying, is it even making sense? I'm so glad it made sense to you. So what happens is, do you remember the huruf al-muqatta'at? Huruf al-muqatta'at are the some of the special alphabets that come in the beginning of surahs, and no one knows the meanings of those alphabets, like alif, lam, mim, yes, which we read as independent alphabets, although they are written together. So like in the beginning of Surah Al-Baqarah, we have Alif, Lam, Mim. Although it's written as Alam, but we don't read it as Alam. We read it as Alif, Lam, and Mim. So now this Lam is going to be read as Lam, Alif, Mim, Sukoon. Lam, Fatha, Alif, and Mim, Sukoon. Now, although it's a word, but actually it's the name of an alphabet. So it's an alphabet and a word at the same time. How cool is that? It's a food for thought, how something can be 2 things at the same time. Wow, I never thought about it, but Allah can do anything. Okay. Okay. So when we're going to talk about al-mad al-lazim al-harfi, I'm going to be talking about huruful muqatta'at. Okay. So then there is one further category. So al-mad al-lazim al-kalimi can further be divided into 2 parts. Mukhaffaf. I think I spelled it wrong. Al-mukhaffaf. And al-muthaqqal. Have you heard the word thaqil? Thaqil means heavy. If you had a really heavy meal, like some people say, I'm feeling very thaqil. My tummy is feeling very thaqil. I had a very fatty food. I had a very fatty meal. On the other hand, so I'm gonna make some space here. Muthaqqal means heavy. I'm gonna put an up arrow, heavy. And mukhaffaf means light. Similarly, al-mad al-lazim al-harfi can also be divided into mukhaffaf and muthakkal. So this can further be divided into al-mukhaffaf and, oops, I didn't leave any space, muthakkal. Please consider this to be same as this. Spellings are same. Mukhaffaf and muthakkal. I really have trouble saying mukhaffaf. I always call it mufakham for some reason. Anyways, so let me give you an example of each of these four, and that should help you know what they're all about. So al-mad, al-lazim. So lazim means there's going to be a compulsory sukoon. Al-kalimi tells you that the besti couple and its neighboring sukoon are going to be in the same kalima, like word. Why do I always write the meme upside down? Downside up, actually. Kalimi. So kalimi tells you that it's in a word. And al-mukhaffaf means that the letter which has the sukoon is a light letter. What does that mean? I'll give you one example and you will understand. For example, there's only one example of this rule in Quran, thankfully. So we have this word al-an. Okay. Is this al-mad al-lazim, which means lazim means there has to be a permanent sukoon, which is an integral part of the word. Do you think this word can be called al-mad al-lazim? Can you see a sukoon right after the besti couple? No. For now, we will just see if the word lazim is being implied in our example. Yes, you can see the sukoon. So here's the besti couple, and right after this, there's a sukoon. So the definition al-mad al-lazim, that criteria has been met. Al-kalimi. Al-kalimi means that the besti couple and sukoon should be in the same word. So al-an is a complete word. So would you say that the besti couple and sukoon are in the same word? Yes. So second condition is also met. It is al-mad al-lazim. Lazim means I can see sukoon over here. Even if you can't see, like it should be part of that word. And kalimi means that the two elements are in the same word. And mukhaffaf means that this letter, which has a sukoon, which is lam sukoon, should not be merged with the next letter. So what is right after lam sukoon? Yes. And do you think that lam sukoon is being merged with hamza by any chance? No, they are separate. So, when lam sukoon is all alone, he is light. He is like light-weighted, not powerful. He's just weak. You can say weak. Mukhaffaf means weak would be a better translation. So, when people make alliances with their neighbors, they party up, they become more powerful. And that's what's going to happen in the next rule, where al-mad al-lazim al-kalimi, only difference is muthaqqal. So everything will be the same in al-mad al-lazim al-kalimi. Muthaqqal, only difference would be that this letter which has a sukoon is going to be merged. And if it's merged, you will see a shadda. So al-an is the only example of al-mad al-lazim kalimi mukhaffaf. Then let's go to the second mad, which is al-mad al-lazim. Again, it's in a kalima, kalimi al-muthaqqal. So here, al-mad means that it's going to be a stretch more than 2 count. Lazim means that you will see a sukoon, like a sukoon would be integral part, and the bestie couple and the sukoon are going to be part of the same word. Muthakkal means that the letter which has a sukoon is going to be merged with the next letter. So I've already given you the example. Ha, qah. So here is the bestie couple. Ha, fatha, alif, sukoon. And then we have a shadda next to it, and we know that sukoon is hiding in there. It's an integral part. Sukoon, therefore, is an integral part of this word. So the lazim part has been met. This condition has been met. There is a sukoon hiding in here. Kalimi means that the bestie couple and the sukoon are in the same word. So haqqatu is one word. So this condition is also met. Muthakkal means that the letter which had the sukoon should also be merged with another letter. And this condition is fulfilled by shadda. So we have 2 qafs here. And if I was to open it, it will become ha, oh, plus qahtu. So here the 2 qafs have ventured together to become heavy. You know, contrary to the previous example where lam sukoon did not party with his neighbor, so he became weak, mukhaffaf, weak. And here the qaf has partied with the next qaf and became muthaqqal, heavy. All right, so let's move to the next example, or the next rule, I should say. And just to bring back to perspective, what are we studying today? We are studying all the stretches because which are present in Quran because of the presence of a sukoon. Okay, so the next one is al-mad al-lazim. Whenever you hear the word lazim, it means it's not a permanent, it's not a temporary sukoon. It's a sukoon which is integral part of that thing. But this time, the bestie couple and the sukoon are not present in a word, but in a alphabet, in an alphabet. So we are going to call it al-harfi. And again, we will have al-mukhaffaf. And similarly, we will also have a mutant version of it with everything same. Al-harfi muthaqqal. Muthaqqal. So remember when we were doing the 2 count, I told you that if I bring together all the huruful muqatta'at from all over the Quran, and they are, you know, going to be like around a bunch of them, and some of them are stretched to 2 count, some of them are stretched to 6 count, like ha, mim, yasin, Alif Lam Mim. So some of them you don't stretch very long, some of them you do stretch very long. So I told you that Ha, Ya, Hayyu, Tahur. These five are always stretched to 2 count. We did this when we were doing the 2 count. And all the alphabets other than Hayyu, Tahur, if you see them in Huruful Muqattat, except for Alif, because Alif is just read as Alif. Any other alphabet you see in Huruful Muqattat other than Hayyu, Tahur is going to be stretched to 6 count. Because that comes in example of al-mad, al-lazim, al-harfi. Remember, whenever we're going to talk about harfi, it means I'm talking about the huruful muqatta'at. Because that's the only example, that's the only possibility where the, so many things can be part of an alphabet, because the alphabet is written as a word, if that makes sense. Okay. So for example, let's take Alif, Lam, Mim, which we see in the beginning of Surah Al-Baqarah. So Alif is going to stay Alif. Lam will be stretched to 6 count. Okay, why? Because it fulfills all the conditions of Al-Mad, Al-Lazim, Al-Harfi. How did it become Al-Mad, Al-Lazim? Lazim means that there had to be a Sukoon right after the besti couple. So yes, our condition is met. Harfi means that, this besti couple and the Sukoon, this besti couple and the Sukoon should be part of a kalima. Yes, Lam is a kalima. It is an alphabet, although you can see it written as a word, but it is a kalima. It's an alphabet. And why is it mukhaffaf? Because Alif, Lam, Alif, Lam, Mim is an example of, let me change it. Let's change it to Alif, Lam, Ra. Okay, so Lam finished and then Ra started. And you know that Ra is part of Hayyu Tahur. No, you don't even need to know if how you're going to pronounce Ra. But this Mim Sukoon, do you think this Mim Sukoon is going to be merged with the Ra? No. So this Mim decided to stay alone. Too bad for him, because that only made him weak. So this is an example of al-mad al-lazim, al-harfi, but wow, mashallah, barakallahu feek, mukhaffaf. Alif Lam Ra is an example. So if I say Alif Lam Ra is an example of, that would be wrong. I can say that the lam inside Alif Lam Ra is an example of al-mad al-lazim al-harfi mukhaffaf. Because when you say the lam, it has besti couple followed by sukoon. The besti couple and sukoon are both part of a harf, and the letter which has the sukoon, which is mim sukoon, is not making an alliance with ra. That's why it just became a weak, a mukhaffaf letter. Contrary to that, lam can also be muthaqqal. How? If you see alif, lam, mim, what is happening over here? What is happening to lam over here? So if I say alif, lam, mim, let's analyze the lam in alif, lam, mim. So lam would be written as lam, fatha, alif, sukoon, and then mim, sukoon. Yes, barakallahu feek, you made my life so easy. So you understood that it's lazim, sukoon, present, and then it's present, both the elements, the besti couple and sukoon are present in a harf, and the meme sukoon is merging with the next meme, because the next letter is lam, Meme. So these two memes are going to merge together. And what happens when you merge the meme with meme? You pronounce it, you stretch it to 2 count. You make it 2 count long. So this is why now the lam in alif lam meme is going to be called al-mad al-lazim al-harfi muthaqqal. So, when you look at um, the alphabets in huruful muqattaat, I cannot say that all the lams are always going to be mukhaffaf and all the raws will always be murakkak. What will it depend on? This is a question. If you answer this question, I would feel I have accomplished the goal of today. So listen to the question again. I cannot say that lam will always be mukhaffaf or always be musakkal. What decides if lam is going to be musakkal or mufakham? Not mufakham, mukhaffaf. What is the deciding factor for lam to be mukhaffaf or musakkal? Think about it. After the meme sukoon, whether can be, oh wow! I hope you're not as excited as I am, because I know you're sitting in the office. I am so excited. Barakallahu feek. Yes, exactly. So it all depends on, yeah, just don't shout as much as I am. So yes, it all depends on whether it's going to merge with the next letter or not. But whenever you see huruful muqattaat and they're other than alif, hayu tahur and alif or ain, because ain comes under another ruling, then you always see if that alphabet harf is merging with the next letter or not. By the way, just the last thing I'm going to tell you is that all those alphabets which are stretched to 6 count in huruful muqattaat, the collective code for those alphabets is sanaqussu lakum. Just like hayyu, tahur, I should write it in a different color. Just like Hayyu Tahur, I told you, if you see these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 letters in Huruful Muqattaat, you always stretch them to 2 count. Similarly, if you see any of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 alphabets in Huruful Muqattaat, you will always stretch them to 6 count. And why do we stretch it to 6 count? Because they all fall under the ruling of al-mad, al-lazim, al-harfi. Just the last word we cannot decide on this stage because we don't know what will be coming right next to it. If, for example, so look at this alphabet seen. C. So you see there's a vesticouple over here. Then we have a lazim sukoon, and they are both part of a harf. So al-mad al-lazim harfi. And now it depends what comes after seen. That will make it mukhaffaf or muthaqqal. So can you think of huruful muqattaat which has seen in it? For example, a very common one, which is also the name of a surah. Give you a hint. Yes, barakallah. Yasin. So seen is the last letter over here. There is nothing after seen. So obviously, even if it wanted to pair up with anyone, there is no one there. So what do you think? What would we call this seen? Is it gonna be mukhaffaf or muthaqqal? Okay, just tell me if it's going to be light or heavy. If the terminologies are too heavy. Yes, light. So, light, the Arabic is mukhaffaf, mukhaffaf, light. Musaqqal is heavy. All right. Okay, so we'll wind up here and inshallah I'll see you next week. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك وإياك وإياك السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته جزاك الله خير